It's only a matter of time. What we refer to as the Bud Light effect will hit everything. YouTube, for the longest time, has been censoring people, and they've had enough. We now have two big stories. Jeremy Hambley of The Quartering, with millions of followers, has announced that he's going to be leaving YouTube. Not completely, but he's going to make the home for his new show on Rumble. We also have this story as well from Timcast.com. Comedian Tim Dillon will move podcast to Twitter and Rumble after YouTube age restricts his show. Two prominent, high-profile individuals announcing their departure from YouTube. Now, to clarify, I do believe you'll still be able to find their content on YouTube, but the home for their content will be elsewhere because YouTube's gone insane. YouTube recently announced that you will be allowed to now deny the 2020 election. I think the people working at YouTube are psychotic, incompetent, and a combination of evil mixed in there. I do think there are many good people at YouTube, and I think they do try very, very hard. I still think YouTube is a core piece of the culture war battleground that I don't want to cede. But my friends, this video, it's on Rumble too. We post these things in more than one place. These videos appear in other places. Why? YouTube is unreliable, censorious, and they don't give you an actual breakdown of what you can or can't do. It's all vague and nebulous. So why invest your business on YouTube? We don't. Over at Timcast.com, we use Rumble infrastructure. Why? Well, they're more reliable. Now, don't get me wrong. We've had some hiccups. Just the other night, we were doing a members only show for Timcast IRL, and there was some lag on Rumble's end. But you know what? It's worth it. It is. Even with some stuttering, Rumble is still more reliable because I'll tell you this. They're investing, they're growing, they're doing right by people. They're allowing people to speak their minds and their opinions, and they deserve to grow and win because YouTube is doing the opposite. But I'll be real. Even if we have these hiccups, guys, YouTube has the same problems and worse. Sometimes the videos don't even load properly. I'll upload it, have to delete it and re-upload it. Sometimes when we go live, people will be like, uh-oh, the stream's going down, and our internet is perfect. YouTube has all of those problems and more. We can't say a certain name of some guy. They never made that rule. Look, there was a period where a CIA agent was blowing the whistle, and if you said his name, they'd delete the video without warning. I think if that were to happen today, I'd file a lawsuit so quick. But back then, less experienced. There's no rule against saying the name of a person who's in the news. Yet that's what YouTube does because people at YouTube, they're evil. Not all of them. I'll put it this way. There are many people at YouTube who are evil. No question. Here's the story. It's time. Jeremy Hambley of The Quartering to leave YouTube will stream his show on Rumble. He says, I lost my check mark so I could make the biggest announcement of my 10-year online career. On Tuesday, Hambley released a YouTube video entitled YouTube is no longer my home. I've been somebody who has supported, who has championed, who has backed free speech. I've been outspoken against platforms that censor, platforms that deboost and blacklist. Hambley said the practice was used by nearly all social media companies as far back as 2018. That's a fact. Adding there was light at the end of the tunnel following Elon Musk's purchase of Twitter. There are more and more places that are no longer a place for just the outcasts. A very real option, a very real home for people that maybe have their own opinions that are not backed by the mainstream. One thing that's been ingrained in me since the beginning is my support of new tech. He says the number one reason why new tech fails is because the groups of people, they fail to reach critical mass. Adding he had previously addressed the aversion to adopting new platforms. When large voices in this space, voices that often talk about censorship, deboosting, blacklisting, shadow banning, they still view new tech as the red-headed stepchild. It's just a place for Alex Jones to go. Big media does not, in my opinion, want new tech to succeed. The Twitter files told us all what we needed to know. You can't just walk away from everything, can you? You have to take the plunge. People just have to put their foot down sometimes. Well, Tim Dillon got censored. He got age restricted. That's why he's moving over. Let me read this for you, and then I'll talk to you about my views on how we handle this. I'm middle of the road. I agree a lot with what Jeremy Hambley is saying, and I think it's a good move on his part. And we'll talk about it first. Here's the other major personality jumping ship. Dillon revealed His plan after Saturday's episode titled Enjoy the Can was age restricted by YouTube, requiring users to sign in to verify their age before viewing the comedian's content. The episode featured the comedian discussing the recent Ocean Gate Titan submarine, which imploded last week, killing 5 people on board. The comedian said YouTube's move to age restrict the episode on Sunday was dumb. 3 episodes of his show have been age restricted. After YouTube has made people sign in to watch the show for the 3rd time, I've decided to start uploading the complete podcast to Twitter and Rumble as well. I don't think YouTube is the future for comedy. I don't think YouTube is the future at all. I think YouTube is destroying itself. And don't think it's impossible. Bud Light was the #1 beer brand in the country. Now it is not. YouTube may fall if they keep this up. Why? You can't have fun. You can't have fun. You can't post. You can't have fun. That's just it. Everybody's walking on eggshells. Nobody feels that they can actually have honest conversations. There's so many psychotic, nonsensical restrictions. Like I said, the people at YouTube running this stuff, they're evil. They think they're smarter than you. They think they're better than you. They're trapped in this sewage whirlpool where they're like, we have to do it for the betterment of mankind. Nonsense. There are real challenges when it comes to censorship. Don't get me wrong. But the idea that YouTube allows certain kinds of really awful content and they ban other kinds of content, it's right there. Leftist ideology is promoted. It's mainstream. Conservative ideology, libertarian ideology, defected liberals, they're targeted and suppressed. Don't play it. Now, this is why we put all of our content on a bunch of platforms, not just Rumble, but mostly Rumble. These videos that you watch, they're available in other places. In fact, it's available as an audio podcast on Apple and Spotify. I don't believe the answer to what's going on is to announce. This is where I somewhat disagree with Jeremy. I agree with his move. And so I think like 99% agree. What I mean to say is you don't need a home, right? Just put everything everywhere and the best platform succeeds. YouTube is easier to monetize for a variety of reasons, but Rumble you can monetize as well. Rumble is growing. It's building an audience. They're going after sports. They got skateboarding. They got gaming. They're growing. You've got other streaming platforms too. We try to be as many places as possible. We have no real reason for Timcast IRL to be exclusive to YouTube. But at the same time, we have no real reason for it to do anything else. So we have a lot of people say, like, why don't you move Timcast IRL live show somewhere else? Yeah, we could, but there's no real reason to do so. YouTube, many people have said the only reason they use YouTube is to watch the live show. Multi-streaming is complicated, and we do get a marketing boost right now from YouTube, so there's an advantage to being on this platform. I'll tell you basically how I see it. We put the clips everywhere. We put the clips from this show everywhere. We put the full show on all podcast platforms. The live show is one of the top live shows in the world. I'm not saying it's like the biggest, but it is one of the biggest and one of the most super chatted shows. And that provides us some opportunity. So long as YouTube is the most used platform by the younger generation, we want to be on it. Do we trust YouTube? Of course we don't. And that's why we use other platforms. That's why we have timcast.com. And we're also working on some other deals to license shows. We'll get to that when the time comes, but these are big things that are coming up in the future. YouTube is unreliable. My recommendation to anybody starting in the space, whatever content you may be making, Rumble is your opportunity, not YouTube. I know a guy, comedian. He made edgy comedy. YouTube, without warning, deleted his channel of 300,000 subs, and he broke no rules. You may be familiar with the internet comedian, Mumkey Jones. I think he goes by a different name these days. But back in the day, he had, I think, 350,000 subs. He was making money. He broke no rules. His content was all monetized. And then one day, YouTube deleted his channel without warning. I think he should sue. I mean, it's been a long time. Granted, hindsight being 2020, I have more experience now. Were I to see something like that happen today, I'd probably move towards a lawsuit. But he didn't break any rules. His comedy was just too edgy. Seriously. And YouTube said, just get rid of it. You could dedicate your time and energy to building a platform, to building your show, and YouTube would nuke it outright without warning. Rumble could too, but I don't see reason for them to do so right now because they're starting to win the fight. They're gaining more and more creators, but not just that. gaming, skateboarding, comedy. People are opting to go to Rumble. Videos there are starting to rival viewership on YouTube. If you are a new creator, there's no incentive. It is difficult to start on YouTube. They gatekeep and they could ban you in a moment. So why use them? I got to be honest. In 10 years, YouTube may just be like cable TV. They will destroy themselves. And you know what? If that's the game they want to play, so be it. We'll put our content on a bunch of different platforms. We're banned from TikTok, by the way. They don't like our ideas. How about that? But you get my point. I think it's important to use YouTube for the time being, but we do put all our clips elsewhere. YouTube, whatever, grind yourself to dust. See if I care. We are all finding ways to support our businesses outside of your ecosystem. Welcome to capitalism. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up in a few minutes. Stick around and I'll see you all shortly.